It's 3 a.m. and you're staring at the ceiling. Your phone is face down beside you. You told yourself you wouldn't check it. Your mind is running through a conversation from 6 years ago for no reason at all. You feel broken, defective, like your body forgot how to do the one thing it's supposed to know how to do. But the real answer is far stranger. Your ancestors were almost certainly awake at this exact hour too. Not because something was wrong with them, because something was working exactly as designed. For most of human history, sleep didn't look like a single unbroken block of 8 hours. Historian Roger Ekirch spent over a decade digging through diaries, court records, and medical texts from pre-industrial Europe, and he found the same phrase again and again. First sleep, second sleep. People went to bed a few hours after dark, woke naturally in the middle of the night, stayed up for an hour or two, and then slept again until morning. That gap in the middle had a name, the watch. During the watch, people prayed. They talked with a spouse, they tended a fire. Some visited neighbors, some had sex. Physicians of the era even believed conception was more likely during this window because the body was rested and calm. Nobody panicked about it. Nobody reached for a pill. It was simply part of the night, the same way dusk and dawn were part of the day. So why did this pattern disappear? Artificial light, gas lamps, then electric bulbs pushed bedtimes later and compressed the night into a single sprint toward morning. Factory schedules demanded one continuous block of rest, not two. Within a few generations, the watch vanished from memory entirely. By the 20th century, doctors began treating the biphasic pattern our great-great-grandparents lived with as a disorder. They gave it a name, insomnia. Think about that for a second. The thing you're diagnosing yourself with at 3 a.m. might be an inherited rhythm, not a malfunction. But here's where it gets stranger. Because Ekirch's evidence comes from written records, from people who already had beds, walls, and candlelight. What about humans before any of that? What did sleep look like before civilization existed at all? In 2015, neuroscientist Jerome Siegel and his team did something almost nobody had done before. They strapped sleep tracking devices onto members of 3 hunter-gatherer societies that still live largely without electricity. The Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, the Simene of Bolivia. No screens, no streetlights, no clocks. If modern insomnia were purely a product of stress and screens, you'd expect these groups to sleep like babies. Long, deep, uninterrupted. That is not what Siegel found. They averaged just under 6.5 hours a night. They rarely slept in one solid block. They fell asleep hours after sunset, not the moment it got dark. And they woke often during the night, just like Ekirch's medieval villagers, just like you did at 3 a.m. last Tuesday. Isn't that surprising? Anthropologist Carol Worthman, who has spent decades studying sleep across cultures, found something similar. In societies without walls or artificial light, sleep tends to be lighter, more fragmented, and far more socially embedded. People doze near a fire with others nearby. They wake if a child stirs, if an animal calls, if the wind shifts. Sleep wasn't a private, sealed-off event. It was porous, shared, alert, because it had to be. A human who slept too deeply, for too long, without waking, was a human who might not notice a predator approaching camp. Light, fragmented sleep with natural waking points wasn't a flaw in the system. It was a survival feature, refined over hundreds of thousands of years on the savannah and in the forest. Your brain still runs that same software. The part of your nervous system that pulls you out of deep sleep in the middle of the night, scanning the dark for a reason you woke up, is the same part that once kept your ancestors alive. It doesn't know the difference between a rustling bush outside a cave 40,000 years ago and a delivery truck outside your apartment. It just knows. Something happened. Time to check. That's the twist. The 3 a.m. wake-up isn't your body failing you. It's your body doing its oldest job in a world that no longer needs it to. Here's the modern mirror to all of this. You live in a house with locks on every door. There is no lion outside your window. There is no rival tribe circling your camp. And yet, the ancient alarm system still fires, several times a night, checking for threats that stopped existing thousands of years ago. What fills that vacuum now? Worry. Your brain, finding no external danger to scan for, turns inward. It searches for something to justify the alertness. An email you haven't answered. A comment someone made at dinner. The mortgage. The wake-up itself is ancient. What you do with it, lying there scrolling through anxieties instead of tendon.